Hi, I'm Peter Birch and today we'll be checking out my facility and seeing what I do on a regular basis that helps me maintain such a large collection. You're watching CrittaCam. There's a few things we need to consider when we're maintaining a large collection. The first thing would be hygiene. Hygiene is number one when it comes to everything. The second thing would be a routine. We need to fall into a routine which will make it easier for us to be able to get through what we need to do on a daily and a weekly basis with the collection, making sure that every animal gets the right attention. So when we jump back to hygiene, there are multiple things we can do to protect ourselves when it comes to using the right type of hygiene. Number one, I would always recommend using gloves. Now gloves are so disposable, so easy and so cheap. There's absolutely no reason why we shouldn't be using them. Whenever we're handling fecal matter, we have the possibility of being infected with anything that's come through the feces. And cross-contamination, it only takes one time for you to touch your mouth after playing with the feces to realise that that was a really bad decision. Now, paper towel is another very cheap product. Very easy to use. I mean, I use tons of this stuff. You just go through, wipe it all up, mop it all up, throw it away, spray it all down and use a ton of it. It's just one of the best products around. Another thing that will help save you a lot of time are disposable water bowls. I just use these plastic containers and I use tons of these as well. And basically, I just go through, throw them out every week and put a new one in. They're that cheap, very easy. When it comes to using something really efficient with hygiene, I recommend F10. This thing here will absolutely rip into any type of nasty bacteria. It'll kill it and neutralise it, but it's all about contact time. Usually between 5 and 10 seconds will destroy any nasty. And an added bonus is, this will actually help the urates, that white part of the snake feces, disengage from a lot of plastics, making it very easy to pull out, clean up, scrub out those tubs and make them very clean. And when we are making up F10, I usually put it in a spray bottle. Now when it's in a spray bottle, I always mark it with F10 because I do have lots of spray bottles for different reasons. You know, there could be water spray bottles and you don't want to be spraying a water spray bottle. You think you've got a water bottle and you're spraying F10 on a particular animal. That could make things very difficult. So hopefully you've got a bit of a grasp about hygiene and how very important it is for your safety as much as it is for the animals. So what we'll do now, we'll go through some of the procedures I do to make life a lot easier. I love using these carts. It's one way to be able to store my equipment that I need to use and I can move them and push them through the rooms very efficiently. In fact, I've got a cart for each room. That stops the problem of having a cross-contamination issue, which could be a really big problem. Now, we're going to get stuck down into the real down and dirty stuff and there's a very high possibility I'm going to get bitten. You guys are going to enjoy this stuff. Let's rock. Whoa. So basically all we do is get in the boxes, pick up the snake, make sure there's no real problems going on there. Do some spot cleaning if it's necessary. What you can't see is a garbage bin, hopefully. Drop out the old water bowls. Pick them a beautiful, nice, fresh water bowl. I love fresh water. Dropping one in just like that. That's the beauty of using particle substrate. Now, particle substrate is something like this. This is an acid-based particle, but there's so many different types, and I do use a variety of them. This makes removing the large particles of fecal matter very quickly. The problems of cleaning, one of the awesome parts. Come on, little fella. ghosting up right now. See, it's got this nice silver coloration. Very difficult to catch the ghost when they're actually putting on their ghost treats. But that is a beautiful little male. Look at that nice silvery sort of bluish green guy. These looking little things. Get back to it. Righto, we're at the end of it now. Now we're going to move on to my favourite part of keeping reptiles, the feeding. Who's coming, champ? Knowing that I go into a certain routine on certain days, and now that I've finished doing all the spot cleaning and changing of water, we're going to go into the feeding procedure. As I knew yesterday I was going to do some feeding today, I did some defrosting last night, which means getting the food out and letting it defrost naturally overnight. Very easy. Now, when we're handling food, once again, make sure we're wearing gloves. We don't want any possibility of getting any nasties coming from these guys into our body. And the other very most important thing when it comes to feeding is separation between our hands and the food item. I don't recommend hand feeding. It'll just lead to some really big issues later on, especially when animals start growing bigger and bigger. The most efficient way is grab some tweezers or some HEMOSTATs. And I mean, you can get them in all different shapes and sizes. You can get them like these big whoppers here. If you can't find these guys in the shops and you're stuck at home, just go and steal a pair of tongs from Dad Barbie. I'm sure he won't mind. But just make sure you let him know before he cooks up the next Barbie, otherwise you might have the rally bum. So, let's go and do some feeding. Now, whenever feeding, I always try and grab the food item by the scruff of the neck. Makes it a little bit more presentable. Hi! Hey there, fella. Hope you've enjoyed looking at some of the processes I go through to maintain my collection. Please leave a comment below and hit us up on Facebook and Twitter. You've been watching CrittaCam.